media news updates. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We are coming to you live from our studios here at the Grand House at Adzika, Accra. Coming up in this bulletin, 𝗟𝗏𝗃 lays down tools today over continuous stay of acting births and deaths registrar in office. Meanwhile, government is defending the appointment of 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗘 as registrar of the births and deaths registry. Also coming up, minority expresses displeasure over contempt conviction slapped on the 𝗟𝗏𝗃 MP but indicates its readiness to comply with the court's ruling. Elsewhere, former Brazilian president charged over alleged coup plot. Let's settle for... My name is Anita and Afarley. Quarcoo. Let's settle for the details. The Civil and Local Government Staff Association Ghana has called on its members to prepare for a nationwide industrial strike beginning today, Thursday, February 10, 2025. The planned strike is in protest against the continued tenure of 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃 at the Births and Deaths Registry as a registrar. 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃 has expressed concerns over Mr. 𝗟𝗏𝗃's participation in the office's budget hearing at the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs on Monday, 17 February 2025, which they see as evidence that he remains in his role contrary to government's previous commitment to replace him. In a statement signed by the Executive Secretary, 𝗦𝗍𝗍𝗏𝗏𝗏, the association reaffirmed that the strike will proceed as planned unless their concerns are addressed. Minister for Government Communications 𝗟𝗏𝗍𝗏𝗏 has defended the appointment of Mr. 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃 as a registrar of deaths and births, stating that his appointment is in line with the Constitution. Speaking at a press conference on Wednesday, February 19, at the Jubilee House, Mr. 𝗟𝗏𝗍𝗏𝗏 explained the laws governing that entity clearly specifies who should make the appointment. It states that it is the President, and the President has acted in line with the 1992 Constitution. He further noted Section 236 of the Constitution stipulates that in appointing a person as a registrar, the President must consider the relevant academic qualifications, experience and knowledge of that person in civil service administration. The registrar shall hold office on the terms and conditions specified in the letter of appointment. Meanwhile, the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃, has called on its members to prepare for a nationwide strike beginning today due to the government's failure to revoke the appointment and hand it over to a civil servant rather than what they call a politically exposed person. The association earlier threatened an industrial strike after President John Dramani Mahama appointed Mr. 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃 to occupy this position. In response, Mr. 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃 urged 𝗟𝗏𝗃 members to remain calm, explaining that the law clearly states the President is responsible for the appointment. He emphasized that the government respects 𝗟𝗏𝗃's view and seeks further dialogue, but reiterated that there is no constitutional provision stating that the position must be filled by a civil servant rather than a politically exposed individual. Minority leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin has assured that the caucus will take necessary steps to ensure 𝗟𝗏𝗃 MP Ernest Kumi complies with the law. His statement follows the Koforidua High Court's conviction of Kumi for attempt after he defied an interim injunction barring him from being sworn in as a legislator. Presiding Judge Justice Senyo Amadehe also issued a bench warrant for Kumi's arrest after he failed to appear for sentencing. The court had previously restrained Kumi from presenting himself for swearing in pending the resolution of a legal dispute. However, he proceeded to take the oath of office in Parliament despite the directive. Citing overwhelming evidence of willful defiance, the court ruled that Kumi had acted in contempt. An official letter from the minority caucus attempting to justify his absence from the hearing was dismissed by the judge, who maintained that Kumi had disregarded the court's authority. With the bench warrant in effect, authorities are expected to enforce his arrest. Speaking to the media on Wednesday, February 19, Fenyomaken described the court's directive as unfair and unsatisfactory to the minority caucus. The lawyers are going to brief the caucus and will come out with our position on the matter. Meanwhile, all necessary steps will be taken to ensure that our colleague is law-abiding and ensure that the right thing is done. We will come out fully with our position when we receive full briefing from our lawyers, he added. The overlord of Mamprogo and president of the Northeast Regional House of Chiefs, 𝗟𝗏𝗡 𝗟𝗏𝗡 is urging governments to lift the curfew imposed on 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏 and its surrounding areas in the West Mamprosi municipality. A delegation led by Imba Tarania in making the demand reminded government of its promise through the regional minister Ibrahim Tia to remove the curfew in 5 days if nothing untoward happens. The curfew imposed towards security concerns along the Bolgatanga-𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏 highway has had devastating effects on local community, bringing socio-economic activities to a grinding halt. Residents say they are facing immense hardship, and school children in Kukwa and Luagri have been forced to abandon their studies due to the presence of armed soldiers. The overlord's call is also motivated by allegations of financial exploitation by some members of the security forces in the area. Meanwhile, the chief of Luagri has summoned the Ghana Armed Forces leadership before the town's gods, seeking justice for his son's death. The deceased, the 34-year-old Hafiz Imuru, was reportedly stabbed to death by military forces who were responding to the burning of a vehicle by unknown gunmen on the 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏-Nasi Road. 8 others sustained injuries, with some still being treated at the 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏 hospital. The chief said they would advise themselves if government fails to investigate and punish the soldiers involved in the brutality. Former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has urged John Mahama to uphold his promise to be a president for all by reversing the recent mass dismissal of legitimately employed persons from the public sector. The Mahama government, through a directive by the Chief of Staff Julius Deborah, has ordered the revocation of employment by the previous government with immediate effect. The development has attracted widespread criticism, and the former vice president has added his voice, calling on President Mahama to protect those affected by halting the mass dismissal. Writing on his Facebook page on Wednesday night, Dr. Bawumia said he had made a personal vow to allow the new government time to settle down and continue with the development of the country, but he could not watch without commenting when the rights of Ghanaians who have been employed to serve the country were being trampled upon. Dr. Bawumia said since assuming office, the government of Ghana has pursued a series of action targeting Ghanaians who were legitimately employed during the previous administration. Dr. Bawumia, while calling for protection and advancement of Ghana's democracy, also urged President Mahama to protect all citizens by reversing the unfair dismissal. He expressed concern over the spread of violent attacks on individuals and state institutions across the country by organized thugs. Felix Quarcoo, spokesperson for President Dramani Mahama, has dismissed claims that the government is responsible for recent assaults on journalists. The president of the Ghana Journalists Association, 𝗟𝗏𝗡 𝗟𝗏𝗡, Tuesday, February 18, strongly condemned the Mahama administration over the rising number of assaults on journalists. 𝗟𝗏𝗡 revealed that since the start of President Mahama's administration, 7 cases of journalist attacks have been recorded, describing the situation as unprecedented. Expressing deep concern over the lack of accountability for perpetrators, he criticized the government's failure to take decisive action against those responsible. But speaking at a press briefing in Accra on Wednesday, February 19, Quarcoo described the narrative as most regrettable and unfair to President Mahama, the government of Ghana, the Ghana Journalists Association, and the journalists reported to have been attacked. The minister revealed that he had engaged the president of the GJA to discuss the issue and find out what informed the press conference. They agreed to have a direct interaction between his office and the GJA early next week to address any concerns that journalists may have. Quarcoo expressed dismay that the way the narrative was presented, creating a misleading impression about the government and President Mahama. He emphasized President Mahama's affable nature and good standing with the GJA, asserting that the president would never supervise a dispensation where journalists are attacked. Elsewhere, former Brazilian President 𝗟𝗜𝗚𝗘 has been charged by the country's chief prosecutor with attempting a coup after he was defeated in the 2022 presidential election. The 69-year-old was handed 5 charges over the alleged bid to prevent his successor, President Luiz, from taking office after a bitter election race. The charges include allegations that he planned to poison Lula and shoot dead Supreme Court Justice Alexandra de Mauro. Bolsonaro denies wrongdoing and says he is victim of political persecution. The prosecutor advised will now be considered by the Supreme Court, and if accepted, he and 33 others will be formally charged and will have to face trial. The former president was banned from running for office for 8 years after being accused of undermining Brazilian democracy by falsely claiming that biometric ballots used in the 2022 poll were vulnerable to hacking and fraud. The bitterly fought election was won by extremely narrow margin by President Luiz, known more as Lula. Bolsonaro now publicly acknowledged his defeat and left Brazil for the US 2 days before Lula was sworn in as president. On the 8th of January 2023, his supporters stormed government buildings in the capital, Brasilia. Parts of the buildings were ransacked and police arrested 1,500 of the rioters. 3 months ago, the federal police released a report accusing him of playing the lead role in planning and organizing an attempt coup, including by proposing the idea to key figures in the military to stop Lula from taking power. The documents charging Bolsonaro says the responsibility for the acts were now harmful to democratic orders and lies with the criminal organization led by Bolsonaro himself. That'll be all for the Wesleyan News update here on Wesleyan Television. For more news, log on to any of our social media platforms.
Nyansa ejian mpenina no anaye gine mpenina no ti baby biara mpenifo ahia na yesua ya dwene no ne open nyansa no oben wa ode agudie kira dwene mu agudie ene kofie penu esa adwene nsemu mu odo nsempolo Samwa yetie bobra ekoyie frase efifrito ne a open nyansa no omenkwankwa enu ase ne mpani so ayadwene ne beye nhira ama no ene ne nchirima yada mo ase
da impanyini inso ayadwene jemre na hweyen memninde ne memninde bia anopa no wotwe wo Wesleyan Television so.
To avoid the heavy vehicular traffic in Accra after a hard day's work, then enjoy a short stay in the new Wesley Tower's spacious and beautiful rooms. Our 6 suites provide a comfortable treat after a long day of exploration. Enjoy modern amenities, breathtaking views in the city of Accra's ambassadorial enclave, and the utmost comfort during your stay. The property gives you a warm reception in our main entrance foyer with a classic central chandelier lighting as you enjoy affordable sumptuous meals from our restaurant. We have in place male-female washrooms, spacious car park, and an on-site clinic. 𝗟̱cie Towers is designed to make you feel safe, offering you the needed luxurious personal space. It comes with affordable pricing package. Please contact for details and inspection. 0503 109 978 or 0500 166 304, 0556 302 880 or 0243 614 423. 𝗟̱cie Towers, offering you a safe, secured, luxurious space.
Alright, and so welcome. Thank you for joining us on this particular segment, and it's all about From the Papers. This is where we bring you all the headlines and all the stories on the front pages of the different newspapers across the country. We'll take a look at the Daily Graphic. Sorry. GPCC backs Mahama's lean administration, lauds Ghanaians for commitment to democracy. And the story begins on the front page, continues on page 3 of the paper. Now, Catholic bishops want government to commit to partnership for education reforms. Junior Graphic also launches essay contest today. And on the National Economic Dialogue, it's happening on March 3, 2025. And so if you grab a copy of the Daily Graphic, you'd also read the story, Court Orders 𝗟𝗡𝗏 MP's Arrest. That story is also on page 20 of the Daily Graphic newspaper. The Daily Guide, it says bench warrants for 𝗟𝗡𝗏 MP over contempt. The story begins on the front page, continues on page 3. We have a picture of the 𝗟𝗡𝗏 MP Ernest Kumi right on the front page. Nanabi sues government over post-election jobs termination. The story is on page 3 of the paper. Former NSA officials deny ghost names allegations, and Anna 70% cocoa price pledge minority to government. The story is on page 8 of the Daily Guide newspaper. To our next one, which is the Ghanaian Times, it says let's prioritize the other one, yes, the Ghanaian Times. Let's prioritize organic fertilizer in crop production. Professor Miller is saying this. Now, prove your critics wrong. President Mahama urges reconstituted Council of State Governments (GJA) to meet over journalist safety. The Ghana Health Service dedicates health desk at regional district hospitals to support persons living with disabilities, PWDs. The story is on page 14 of the most authoritative newspaper, the Ghanaian Times. The Chronicle newspaper, the Sphere of the Nation, and it says that NDC chairman caught in Galamsey Web. Well, Adamu's Resources says he has invaded its concession. The story is on pages 2 and 3. Chairman Enoch Kofi denies involvement in Galamsey, and Galamsey Gwira Ajuramo NDC jams to the defense of chairman. Well, these are the stories on the front page of the Chronicle newspaper, the Sphere of the Nation, the Supreme newspaper. And it says that High Court imposes cost on Asiedu Nketia for omitting crucial witness in defamation case. The story begins on the front page, continues on page 3. Archbishop Boateng to release 100 inmates from his one prisons, and Michael A. Dodu lacks capacity to sue on behalf of Dodu Clotte family. Court rules. Blaze Investments begins construction of new astroturf for Kotoko, and Gabriel Tanko Kwamega sworn in as Council of State member. NPA to deploy automated dispensers to implement 24-hour economy. The story is on page 4 of the Supreme newspaper. If you get a copy, these are some of the stories you will be reading inside. The National Enquirer says wickedness of 𝗟𝗍𝗘 government, $70 million worth of lethal fertilizer I supplied cocoa board left to rot. Seidu Agongo is saying this. And the story begins on the front page. That's just the first paragraph. The rest continues on page 3. Mahama pays tribute to late Namibian leader Sam Nujoma, and National Service Authority recovers stolen borehole rig and truck. Court chases Ernest Kumi with bench warrant, and only 40 out of 800 𝗟𝗡 have been prosecuted, and that is from 𝗟𝗍𝗘𝗏. All these stories inside the National Enquirer newspaper. The Daily Dispatch. A new birth and death registrar, government dares clock SAG over strike action. You can count on the Council of State at all times, do Ajaho to Mahama. And these are the stories inside the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Daybreak newspaper. And it says that ex-NSA boss, that's the National Service Authority bosses, reject ghost names accusations, and finances threaten oil downstream sector. Comac CEO. We will ensure Akwatia MP complies with court ruling marking massive encroachment of Chakwadi Air Force Base land. Coming up, why Helga Boedi was sacked from First Atlantic Bank. And so, grab a copy of the Daybreak newspaper. Read the stories in details from there, and we'll end on a business note. But the business analyst this morning is reporting that the Bank of Ghana conducts audit of remittance transactions from October 1, 2024 to December 31, 2024. The story is on the front page, continues on page 3. Government to constitute stakeholder committee to reform downstream petroleum sector. The story is on page 3. Passport office to work day, night and dawn shifts, and that is coming from Samuel 𝗟𝗍𝗘𝗏. Now, government to offer flexible loans to young entrepreneurs, and NPA introduces new price floor for petroleum products. Grab a copy of the Business Analyst. Get to read your business stories in details from there. Thank you so much for joining us on this segment. Let's take our attentions back to the screens and take a look at our word of the day. So our word this morning is prolific, and it means that producing an offspring or producing fruit or bearing fruit. And so this is what it means. Do you want to read more around this word? Do you want to form sentences with it as well? We'll go for a break. When we return, we'll bring you Apple Mudding.
This is the time, no more delay. Yes, yes, yes. I'm so excited. This is the time. No more delay. Call a friend to call another, that it is time for the young people to connect right here on WTV. Welcome to Y Connect, where we connect youth to Christ. The future is here.
Yɛn nkyerɛkyerɛ dwumadie soronko a Methodist yɛahyehyɛ ɛde ɛbrɛ yɛn nkyerɛkyerɛ so no yɛbɛsua adeɛ afa deɛ anim ɛfa Nyankopɔn ho Yesu Kristo honhom kronkron ɛne sɛnea yɛtu yɛ gyidie mu anamo ɛbɛpɛnsɛmpɛnsɛ yɛ gyidie no fapem yɛn nkyerɛkyerɛ yɛbɛbisa yɛbɛsua na yɛbɛhu ka yɛn ho na yɛnsua adeɛ ɛwɔ yɛn nkyerɛkyerɛ so yɛn nkyerɛkyerɛ yɛma gyidie no mu ada hɔ pefee.
Apomudin mre aso na omo aso yimu na yedi apomudin ebremo 𝗟𝗡𝗙𝗘 Institute omo Kumasi nti wo any addiction problem bia na afi wo adwemu yare kakra na wo kom betumi aboa wo na wo yi wo hu efrem obehu omo echi akwan ewo Kumasi kotwi ene ye to ankomo twetwe no so efa ye no ho ene ne ye kasafa cornea ho nti yenko ye doctor no ye krado ba be kire nyama ba ko mienu bi efa ye topic ni ho for today.
Nyama bebre o hono mo a affect yani kosua no e friend cornea no obi o hono mo o severe allergic reactions so o type senani pa obi san o say o feel comfortable wanyo ntumi kra but it's not a right practice because oposa ni na no na e cause scarring ejakotwa bi wo black vein and so but you know your person you're transparent. Idea be obey causes scarring on the cornea no, a blocky rays of light, and that can reduce your vision. So it is not recommended. So when you need a kawa and pouchow, call eye clinic, the doctor, and you who are the pochia, it causes allergic reactions. You know, sometimes you know for immediate, you know, to me for the meantime and for first aid, you know, which may is to cold water. Now when they are washing when frequently.
Never call.
And no be man kekaya na abaform. But they're not interested, don't go to the clinic, go. So the doctor can do a comprehensive eye examination and give you some medicine for it. For allergic reactions, there are so many allergens in the environment. It be more a strong scented perfume. It be more a dust. Pollens, a dawson. In kids now, if it's happening in kids now, it's difficult for them to. But if you're an adult, you can be observant. Baby, a trigger more. Baby, you become safe. So with that, you can try and spot out that particular substances that is triggering that. Yes, usually someone who experiences this means that you know, it's why a dry. You have a dry eye. Nipa when you should be was what I was say.
The tearing rather.
Exactly, the tearing rather. So if you are tearing more, you need to visit an eye clinic. No more say, we're developing dryness of the eye now. The doctor will recommend some medicine and also ask you to eat a lot of vitamin A fruits like carrots and also bois masa insuno. It to me, ejina weni.
Edi enkomo ebisi ha echina nyame ya doma ebesan atoaso. Apomudin was brought to you by the 𝗡𝗙𝗘 Institute located in Kumasi, Kotwi. Yadani ho abayeba an insurance minute ebetoaso.
𝗡𝗙𝗘 Institute. Ayaresabia hotonia sumdua shehoma. Edi enu wakwanchre. Wakwanchre ni adekodia potenu a epia ma otokoso wa abrabomu nanso sensanom ni nubone fa basa betwa wa akwan mu a eyi wa adwene firi obotaye no so wo 𝗡𝗙𝗘 Institute no yebetumi aboa wo ni wabusuafo a muhia moa nyina ma wogye ayemodea ye yayaresabia asebi yebeboa wona a wato nsane nubone fa ntentan mu ayaresabia ebotaye ne se ebeboa adwuma mu nimdifo Esuafo ni nipa ahodo nyina ama watu anamwa edikan a edifa ahodie bebre won mpanimfo a ye ne won di dwuma no bi ne won a wo hwe adwene mu yare afutufo ni adokotafo ni anesefo a wode won ho afiri nsanom ne nubone fansem yatete saa nimdifo yi na wo nimdia ne nuoma pa ebo ayarefo no na de atwam nso ne se ayaresan hyehyeye ni gina abefo hyehyemu ni USA hyehyeye a wadidi juma no 𝗡𝗙𝗘 ayarehwe ne fie die nyina yepe yayaresan hyehyeye no gu ahodo na ebi ne medical monitored detox program residential rehabilitation yasan tumi fa ye nananom akwa ahodo so sayare na ebi nso ne group therapy 12-step AAA programs recreational therapy ne nia ekeka ho ayarefo ne da akyehye ase bra ode ne nan besi biaye ho no a 𝗡𝗙𝗘 Institute ya befo ayaresabia ehwe wona wado suko won sane nubone famu na ani wiase afana hyehyeye nyina nso yepe adampa hodo a ye wonu bi ne VIP rooms professional rooms standard rooms and air conditioned rooms laundry services ye free ahobambon sem nso wo sro kama Yesan wo biaya osua de na eba no aduanesem de a uni hawkra. Ye na tru kwan wo Kumasi kochi e wa Asante Mantam Ghana. Sa wo pentremu bi anso a me pa chow frayan wo 0245 849185 ana 0322 496188. USA Fonson frayan wo 404 735 7697. Abe Fontaine Tansu Behuni Yenwo www.𝗟𝗏𝗡edu.org. 𝗡𝘗𝑆 Institute, the Extension Center for Integrative Therapy, home away from home.
Welcome back. It's time for Insurance Minute here on Wesleyan Television. It's brought to you by 𝗟𝗏𝗡 Insurance Limited. Today, it's all about the personal accident policy. And for this particular policy, it's an accident policy and it is an annual policy that provides compensation for death, permanent disability, temporary or total disablement, and medical expenses rising from bodily injury which is caused by external, some visible or violent means. And so if you are involved in an accident, you are involved in a fight, a riot or anything, and you are signed on to the personal accident policy, then you would fall on this particular compensation and then you can get yourself back right on track. And so this morning, we're recommending the personal accident policy for you. You can sign on to it yourself or you can sign on a loved one to this particular insurance policy. You can contact the 𝗟𝗏𝗡 Insurance Company across all 16 regions by the head office. You can find them around the Quarcoo Hill, that is behind the 𝗟𝗏𝗡 Presbyterian Church, or you can call 0302 763065 and then you can speak to an agent or walk into any of their offices nationwide. Thank you so much for joining us on Insurance Minute. Tomorrow, please do well to make time with us again.
Looking for a 247 virtual assistant who calls you by your name and makes you feel welcomed? Meet 𝗟𝗏𝗡, the first bot who connects with you and understands your insurance needs at a click.
Praise God, praise God. Christ in tea, you respond, yeah, this year. I'm excited to announce to you, friends in the Lord, are you seeking for a platform where you can pray? Ope baby abeso bompai. Now ninyami edi inkita home. Bibi chiro so. And amanye bi na the same kum. And you come home. Let's go into the prayer room on WTV every Friday 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. to meet seasoned ministers of God that God has raised to impact your life. Remember, John Wesley said, I have too much to do, therefore I spend several hours in prayer in able to do it. That is why we are calling upon you. Meet myself, Reverend Hosea Say, and the Evangelism Mission Renewal Directorate as we lead you into the prayer room where we encounter Christ. And I believe your life will never be the same. Call your friends or loved ones every Friday 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. where we will encounter Christ. God bless you. See you on our screens on WTV every Friday 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. God bless you. That each and every one of us
is the Freeman Methodist Guest House Limited. It is a luxurious and comfortable guest house in the heart of Kumasi. Our guest house features a range of modern and spacious rooms, each with its private bathroom and amenities. Our guests can enjoy various on-site facilities, including a restaurant, conference halls, event center, spacious car park, CCTV cameras, lifts, generator, and many more. We are conveniently located opposite the Wesley College of Education near the Swami Roundabout in Kumasi and are easily accessible by public transportation. We look forward to welcoming you to the Freeman Methodist Guest House Limited. Contact us by telephone 050-650-8591 or 050-650-8592, or you can email us at fmghlghana@gmail.com or use our website www.fmghlghana.com. Freeman Methodist Guest House, where serving you is our delight. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us here on Wesleyan Television. This is 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏. Emira Society Deru Ebebro. This is the part where we are joined by our news analyst Nafi. Insemba kumienu bia yakasa afahu ewahano. If borders the nation, the borders us as a people, and no ena anapawi. The comments kakwa babeka we say a news analyst abekanye ho. He's in the person of the Reverend Maxwell Quarcoo being a Methodist minister or sign a lecturer or a teacher ni papa inti Oceano baby ofreno also for Maxwell Obejo Pepe. Also for belated birthday.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us and good morning.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Okay. So for who ye?
Adam.
Birthday is what you're saying.
Oh, Adam, maybe I come. And here the one where by us.
Okay. All right. Yo. So this segment is brought to you by the Freeman Methodist Guest House. Omo na mwaso imu na ede deru insensem ebebro. President Mahama Esha said not or say. Insha first story na say. President Mahama promised to bring in a very lean government. Appointments ne so here and there, but once now yet to say one of the institutions no see omo strike clock sack say omo strike because nipa ya appointing as registrar for the birth and death registry no omo who say a politically affiliated person into Mr. Bampo Adoni ni nkofo aye ba ko atro krata say and the clocks are 49 for omo tools and to Mobia Nijuma into from and then on 20th of February 2025, Clock SAG is on strike. What will be your comment on this particular story?
Yachia arefo nyina na said ye nyina ye bompa ye say resetting their country say ye hihye wo man no foforo biem na o man no a nanka ebre nesi apene no oman no ho bedwo no na eniyama besan sisi na namu yi na oman no akonanim migiri se no ane Ghana fo akoma so ade enu nti na NDC fo eton won adwene ene won susuye no oman no etoye na wodi won kokromotie etim so se yento aba ma won na osusu se yeto aba e de ma won a won hyehye no mfie nan edi yanimu yi as say yentumi kura nka say ye mfie nan bi esan say from
3 years and some months
January 7th no eso ayeden eso ate enti say ye kan mfie miensa ne kakra e wo yanimu no wona ye de ye hyebre ahye wonsa enti wo mampani no wotumi se opankrofo edi adwuma ehye wonsa na wo boa no ema ensusuye ewo ni trimu no eboa ma oman no ekonanim sede esese eye ono no wotumi no nanso tumi no se wode betudwa ede edi dwuma esese wo hwe se ekuakuo no ne nipa a wode won kɔ no osefata na nhyehyeye ewo ho no nso so no eno na wode aye adwuma na sede be ya enkofa ne ntimi ho ase bia ma ohun se ne ye bia no emra eda ho enti eba ministerial appointment ne kura no a ene ne ye no a o se yinkrofo a mantem ne nyina nso benya mu chefa enti wu yi a esese oman no ejapade a yewo se oman no mantem bia enya ho mfaso obi na se be ya mantem bia benya ho mfaso obi ne yesi mantem bia ye region bia no mehu nipa enka wa mamuo no ho nti o mampani ye sa adwuma ni nyina no eno nso ye bibia esese wo hwesan se amamra no e de kyekere wo man no ewo mu saa okay sanso so na we close act for asemi a civil servants for yi ne abayadwuma efo ya asema omo kan no enso so ne fa bi no wo mu kire mu a Supreme Court kura no ebu asem no brebi se won waye adwuma wo saa biaye no eni kwan se wode won ho eforefore amanyo semu wahu ana se amanyo ne de amanyo sem de da bia ye nyina ye ya amanyo na emom se wo kofa party atade ahye na obi anim wugina bra wugina mu no se de dwuma bi esa akohye wonsa ya na ya akoye se ebi ana wa ma ye ne ewo osoma dwuma no obi aho antono enti ya na ombenya na nka obi a wuyi no onkoye obi a wanhye da nyi nanim yenkase nyi obi mfane nko na emom yi obi a onhye da nyi nanim ewa amanyosem no mu ema obi ahu ne ginabre na fa ne bra beto dwuma no ano na enso wo san yi ne so a hwe obi a wo sa dwuma no ho nimdie eno na close act for say papa ya yi no waye DC pen ndi obi a waye NDC DC pen die na kire sa amamuo no aye ebuo no oye NDC ni mapa ndi wo de no beto ano se onye registrar birth and death na kire se nipa no oye politically exposed yenim ni gina breda da nti bibi ndia na ahwe ya na akoye bibi oho.
So what is so political about the birth and death registry? Because the hodie
eno na me ya na mintimi nti wo mase
because the hodie anka enye
obi ya wo
na ba be certificate paper tre no na amane say udini umami ni papa ni
wa bia na death na asem wo ho dia.
But you see, government has made a lot of appointments to various state institutions. Yenyante assembly.
Omo de no omo kan na kire se asem wo ho. Asem wo ebe ma obi ati ho atua de na kire se enye sa on se close afo ya no. Ebre bi omo de ba se yentu akatuem. Na wa allowance no ba ko na ye neutrality allowance. Say juma no a oye no se we stay neutral ni kwa se odo ho efrafra amanyo sembia ndi se watumi anya adwen na se na allowance kura no o kire se neutrality allowance emra mu a na kire se sa akuo no bibi e ya amanyo no wo mpese nke befram na so wo ankasa e kasa ni nimpa so se wura district assembly ni ho assembly ni nyina ase wugina chire na ahwe kwaya hu se ni nyina nua na bom bare wo ben kwaya ni mu abe hu se dua bi asini sibre wura mu a omo anim se yen yeto nyina no bare obi anso nim ba bi obi agina wo ho na se be ya yemfa amanyon sei juma oman jumadie no nti no media nka adwobre ekurase maka onwe eba afoforo no omampani Felix kwache be ka kire ye se onabo o se aban edwin omo asam no ba ye no omo di kan tie aban na so ena omo be ka se
aban be ye won se
nka aban sesa nipa no ena omo be ka se o aban edwin ho na de omo aka no aban e de konsusuye mu nti omo de omo nka omo akoma nto omo yam ena omo be ka se strike omo be kono ko omo atwea sensan afi aban de ko
so mo de akwa nim ko si 20th aban anye bibia mfa won ko si the 19th and say
ena aban kodwen ho de muaye o medwen ho no de omo hu ya ne se papa na hye ne dwumadi ase na kire se yen ya de srede no a ye de to aban anim no nya de aban eye ho hwe se nipa na hye adwuma se de na se aban ni oye na dwen so obeye no ano eno ano pese oye.
So one of the concerns that Quarcoo raised was the fact Mr. Butchie's participation in the office's budget hearing at the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Monday, 17th February. No, what is so political about being participating in the budget hearing?
Yeah, no, na ye how. Say no omo asem ne say papa no oye manyoni oya amanyo na omo nhihye mu no obi oya amanyo sem no ontumi ni wanim
omo say omonim say papa na kai be yi na free ho no one so wakotena budget
and wakotenti wakotena mu asem
ni na ewie
o ka bia ma ekuo no na kire say adwuma no ano wa hya ase enti yasere wo say twene san ema yen san say yen nyina nim say wayi nanim dodo na fe de yen kohwe a yesi na yen shada ni nyi na ho na fe WT for monhwe na monne ne nkasa maye you see you yate ye be ye hu bibi na fe the next time ye be ba na mpo na age akonwa 6 o'clock news wo ti wa wo kan na kire say ya asema ye kan yi wa amfa anye hwe wa amfa ni die bi anso ama ina kire say woni ye nso antena se e bi a kire say nipa no madwini mu no se ni se nti na ye gidi se bi a oba sa de mususu no enye saa na beko no.
Well, Quarcoo for executive secretary Dr. Bampoado so akasa or justify the reason for their strike inti yenko na yenti ne ye papa Bampoado ekan.
Unless you are not saying Supreme Court and law, because they are supposed to interpret the Constitution, and we sent this to the Supreme Court to interpret Article 195 in relation to the civil service, because we felt we could not be denied to do politics. It is what they will not do. That's what we are saying. We are not saying the president has done. We are saying, according to the Supreme Court ruling, if you show your colleagues, step away from the service. And that's what we are saying. Oh, well, we're going to get to them with this, what the Supreme Court is saying. And if they say we should throw it out, but this is what the Supreme Court is saying. So it's for the public to judge whether what we should abide by what the Supreme Court is saying or we should throw it out. The strike was called by the National Assembly, so they are the answer. They will be the person to answer the question. What we are saying, this is not Quarcoo saying this. The Supreme Court that is saying if you show what happened, step aside from the services.
Secretary Isaac Bampoado and yete in Kano. Now government is so bomodia no so ama Mwaebi into Felix Ofosukwachi or a government spokesperson on communications on also akasa nti enko screen so na ngoti in your kind.
We have engaged Quarcoo. We have made it known to them that we believe that the president has acted in accordance with Ghanaian law. Now the births and deaths registry does not exist in isolation. It's an entity set up by law and governed by law. Indeed, the most recent law that governs the activities of that department is the Registration of Births and Deaths Act 2020, which is Act 1027. And this act sets out in detail how the activities of that organization are to be conducted. And in fact, when it comes to the appointment of a registrar, who essentially is the head of that department, Section 2 of Act 1027 makes it clear how it ought to be done. The contention of 𝗏𝘆𝗲 is that the registrar position is a civil service position. That has to be backed by specific provision in law. Now, if you read the relevant section of this law, Section 2, which deals with the appointment of the registrar of births and deaths, Section 2:1 says, the registry shall have a registrar of births and deaths. Section 2:2 says, the president shall, in accordance with Article 195 of the Constitution, appoint the registrar. Now, you may seek to inquire what Article 195 says. Article 195 simply gives the president power to make appointments, and in some instances allows him to delegate that power to other entities, individuals, or organizations to do. And in the specific instance of the Births and Deaths Registry, the law governing the operations of that, the law governing the operations of that entity spells out clearly who should make the appointment. It says the president, and the president has acted in accordance with the 1992 Constitution. Now, Section 2:3 says, the president shall, in appointing a person as the registrar, have regard to the relevant academic qualification, experience, and knowledge of that person in civil registration. The registrar shall hold office on the terms and conditions specified in the letter of appointment. So, the criteria for that appointment is clearly spelled out in Section 2 of this Act. 𝗏𝘆𝗲 has not questioned the competence of the current occupant of the position of registrar. They only say that he is politically exposed. But I have just read the law to you, and you, as journalists, I'm sure, have capacity to dig up this law and read it for yourself. There's no way that it is said that the position ought to be occupied by a civil servant. And Mr. 𝗟𝗏𝗍𝗘 is a highly experienced official who in the past has served as district chief executive under the Mills administration. And he has many years of public service experience. And he has requisite academic qualifications to hold that particular position. So it is the view of government that whilst we respect our partners in organized labor and seek to dialogue on all relevant matters, in this particular instance, the president has acted in accordance with Ghanaian law. And for that reason...
Well, so that was the Minister for Government Communications and the spokesperson for President Mahama, Mr. Felix Quarcoo, and he has also justified why this selection was made, or this nomination was made in the first place. Earlier, no can say Section 236 of the Constitution stipulates Nipana appointing as registrar, Nipana should have the relevant academic qualification, experience, and knowledge of that person in civil service administration.
In civil service administration, should that be interpreted, say, as a so ye jumayeni? Because you gain experience by working in the field. And one will say, Omunina ejina mraso, and or more kasa. And he say, Mrano ne ohi. We say, Supreme Court to say, Ubi or ye manuni and ye civil servant, no so obey a civil servant na so person politics a free muko. And a we so say, Mrano ma or mampani who quine say, O you will be edneko. Nimi enu nyina obi e gina mraso na ekasa enti ye besere 𝗏𝘆𝗲 mpanimfo ene aban mpanimfo no won sansi nkonwa na wonya no baabai kakra na se ehu behia se papa no ye de ni besi nchen na akoma abafom ne ye de onipa foforo aba aden nipa wo party ni mbebre a obi on betumi anya obi a ye de ne bekwa saa menteme ho asi enkoba
nipa iso be free sa party na
Yesin ni obi a waye ye betumi anya obi omo ankasa within the same closer kan ankasa kra na omo kope obi a omo betumi anya obi omo enim ne se oka party ne ho nanzo onyi nanim.
But that also brings us to the fact that the person is still politically affiliated.
Affiliated, they are not say exposed. Exposed, they say, wadi emu penny, emu penny, no na
wa same MPP ni same NDC ni share atare ni binti
so be animu nanso obi a ye politician obi a to aba so we so for kwa metu say wo party wo wadwenem na emo wuntumi na emfa ntodwa nti close akana mu no wo mo anim wo mo nkrofo ewom ndi se bi no wo mo kwa akoyi won na wo de won adi dwuma na akoma ebetofo mu a omo nye emfa ma won na adwobrebre emra na saa nipa no so omo adwuma foforo bi a omo betumi de na ya na omo de na koye sanza wo koyi mpo ene ye pagya red flag de je osui anyam bia wo koduru ho a saa nkrofo kro ya betumi aboa wa ma wa ye adwuma ama emfaso no a ye hwehwe afiri ho no wonsa aka enti aban no betie won a eye ono an yi edie mu na biasi we a ye ka won say MPP breso no omo kofa director bia nom de ne ko GS eno nso GS for sorry ti a kasa asa ewie ye no aban na mfi won ye misa se mfie mienu no anipa no bedi is director obeye de no die nkwa na nipa no tumi ye sesan ye nipa ho adwuma.
Okay.
Enti abri bia no de ye institutions no ye besre politicians no say ye mankrofo a free those institutions no mu pagya ebedi won pani ni a eboa ma won ankasa so kra no omo di dwuma omo de ahoden ye na se bribia ne yakofo obi de abekenten won so ne niema no ya moa dwuma no a oman no ye pese ye kono.
Is this the only tool 𝗏𝗏𝗏 could use in terms of the strike? As I say, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 again, so I mean civil servants and also Ghana they form major part of government workforce. Until Omuka say Omuko striker, not just most of the institutions across the country so any juma. Is this the only tool they could have used?
What a tool no dear said the can say dialogue. Ewo ho say e betumi asinkonya.
Okay.
Na ye kan esono obi a woni ne sinkonya obetie wasem no. Medical aka ba ko a kirew se anamo a wutuo no mempe. Nidie kwan so no se bia na aban ne ye ne sanke bia se ofre won no won didi nkomo se bia papa no mo asem a mo kan mate na enso so nka mesre mo se mo ma ye nyintum no nya adwuma ne sanse ye de ehunu se owo su ehunu a obetumi de aboa ma modwumadie no akonkan ena omo ye saa adwumadie no ansampo ena papa ye ehunu se wo kosa nhyiamudie no a nka ebia de ye tie no nka ye nyeden ye nti na emu wa nka hwe a ono nso yese entasu hwi kokko obi anum na nso ye tifita na tifita no na nipa no ehunu ye wo ya na wate kokko no nti demonstration ni strike ni nyina no ye part of nipa ne fa ahodi a owo so ode be kire na dwen se bibi e ekoso no ne bonyo so.
So why is it that the fight against Galamsey 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 by Bekasaya Ekowiye no omuyi omuhu free mu ene I mean there were a lot of issues around late last year and sana ebabeye voting ni ne keka ho.
Ahun say nsemo a ye kan nyina na ye ka say toda ase ye de ho nso so edwumakuo no dodo no ano ase ye de ho nso ye ne ye ho. Edru ba bia na amanyofo no fa kwan bi so chinchin nipa ni bi adwene enti ya akoye se tumi no kodi nipa ne nsam a na wabeye so powerful se enema bi wo ho no wosi na adwene se no ano opeso ya edru ba bia wo ka hwe a omfi enti yenti obia ne enti edru ba bia na nipa bi ya akoye se ene na se ye de ye ho bekọ akohyem de ene ye nkobi na enso so ni yie ye mu nyina no ekoyi a ye bodin e be kan say wa mamuo pen so no wo so oha we ya no wo boa ma we si wo boa ma we ba sei enu nti ye kan ne ye ka fa ho say wo bo ho modin esa nso na anko yi a ye kan ne ya bo udin abata ho say o mampani we ba so no ade we ene course wo man nim enti ye be sere wo mu nyina both the institutions no a ye ka ho asem no se bibi wo ho na eye ma ye ne yesusu se saa na sese ye no a ma ye mfa ye ho mfrafra amanyo ne nimu niema ye nyina pintin ne ye mprema ye manfo no ne ye hu se o man ne eda yakoma so na afa ube hu se strike bebrebe ye be ha ye ni aka atudwa obehwe na ye ne mpanifo no kotena se ne ye ka ko na ye je ato ho ye je ato won so a ne ye ka se ye be ye no so abehwe no na ya anye
oh ye yanko parliament na one of the MPs akutia MP no he has been convicted of contempt of court ni na echi ne say bench warrants be ewo ho e de man say ye arrest and escumi na ye ka say he disobeyed an interim injunction against him on January 7, prohibiting him from being sworn in and admitted as a member of parliament elect for the Akwatia constituency due to an ongoing legal contest over his election. In the election sense, no assign ABPW in the month of February from December. Ya chimwa babisi and they say don't go and get yourself sworn in. Wako this year you are sworn in. Alexander Fenyomarkin, minority leader, can say ombeshe senebeya lawyers are a wasem no be the assembly abe to just senebeya muso ombetumi upon who kakra e de atwe Ghana for.
Yo baby a menteme ho ase wo no. Mejiri se asomdwie no ba na ye nyina yete ho ase a. Ohun se asamo a ye kan. Eye den wo hu ne ho se ono no wadi nkunim.
Okay.
Enti ma odi call parliament. Say yensu eni in. Say isi na declare abano.
Yeah.
Enti se emrane se isi declare abani wi a on de wa kire na dwen se madwene mu no we ne di nkonim. Wo a wonte wo ho ase no, wo de court. Enti court no mu no ena nipa no a wo de asem no kwa bi a o gina so se kosisi ebe ka asem na wie no mo onye ne ho se oye MP na so wa anya ne ho se oye MP a na asem no di mfie nan a ansa na ye di awia na nkrofo ewu akwatia no na omumra hye badwani ne hwan na nso so asem no wo court a wo mo hwe na wo de emra ni yi atu yi nti no ye mpese ye be wurawura mu pi sanse asem no da so wo court na emum sisi ade de aba ne se wabu court animtia
So asem no court na court afrel na case course we are going to try the case be hearing in the account a when see hokra kopim time 7 January so ya o call for swearing in no
na sabre na wansi ho no
someone who is supposed to uphold the law
enu na me kire na sabre na wansi ho no ye nim ba bi oti
te wosan kai ko chin wo ho
ni ye nim ba bi oti
well that's an interesting
this is here no aye wo mu ne de emra no ne ye nyina ye bo ho ban
does it mean so continue wo ho yes it will disrupt a lot of the activities and the because
I say ade no an na ekoso ni nyina no akoye se yabo wani so na sutro mienu na mo wani ha na adafa mu wo wonan no eduru ba bia na entase account ye ba ne saa na esese odi ani so ohye ye niema bi
okay
enti ani so ohye ni bi no
so you think that is what he's doing now
ema de ne kwan wo ho kakra bia no bia na party no eka ho bi na ma ni nya akokoduro MPP party no eka ho bi na ma ni nya akokoduro e call parliament say yenso ani in enu nti na party no minority leader no so de ne ho abagim say
so na papa na busy kakra
the minority caucus no ebehwe say obedi enhyehyeye e wo ho so na waba court na asem e wo se ye ka no yaka ye besere wom ya ye baako ayenyo na toatoa so se ye frɛ nipa no a enidi eseso de ma court no na onfa ma members of parliament no baako mienu bi esia eno nso so obehu se yese o de court animu twitwiri fam eno nso nye esan se sade parliament pese ye di nidie ma wo no saa na court no nso pese ye di nidie ma no saa nso ena omampanie etena bia no executive no nso hwehwe se ye di nidie be ma wo na adwuma ayeye no obia kura ne yonko mu kakra obia nso nya asem odan ne yonko ndi se obi asem ba na aye wadwen se ye to nsa afro na wo kyerɛkyerɛ wo ho gu nipa no so na wa amfa ni di ama no a wo kyena ho ana abedwan ato ano
na we nyina echi na me bisa se should we wait for all of these things to happen na nipa ni parliament was na issue bench warranty not to na abefan police farmer no abefan no it make us say some of the proceedings most of the proceedings course for parliament no it's even seen on our screens every time at any point in time no bibia ekoso during the 9th parliament no yeah issue some warning no edema no say onko na onko tie ni aye ka akoka no but clerk no so ya ade ono so warning no nti enko ya screen so na enko tie ni a clerk of parliament e ka tre Mr. 𝗟𝗏𝗃 MP for Akwitia.
Honorable members, would you kindly listen as we proceed? 𝗟𝗏𝗃 North and Akwitia. The case of 𝗟𝗏𝗃 North is known to all of us in this honorable house. We don't have writ of elections from the Electoral Commission in respect of 𝗟𝗏𝗃 North. And therefore, it is impossible to proceed with any matter relating to 𝗟𝗏𝗃 North in terms of roll call and in terms of the eligibility of a member for that constituency to participate in the election of the Speaker. In the case of Akwitia, the clerk to Parliament was served a process on the 3rd of January 2025 with an order of interim injunction from a high court in Koforidua. This order was served through the legal office of the Parliamentary Service. The order directed the respondents, including the clerk to Parliament, indicating that they are restrained from proceeding to call, admit, register, swear in, recognize, gazette the said Ernest Yao Kumi as the elected member for the Akwitia constituency. At the time of the receipt of the order, the Parliamentary Service had already completed the process of registration of Ernest Yao Kumi as member-elect. This is precisely because the first writ of elections that we received, Ernest Yao Kumi, was part of that process. So we received writ of elections in respect of Ernest Yao Kumi. And without the pendency of any suit, any process, the Parliamentary Service, in compliance with due process, had to register the member. So we did so. Subsequently, it has come to our attention. There's a restraining order of a court. Restraining not just the member, but the clerk to Parliament from proceeding with the registration of, from proceeding with the members' participation in the election of the Speaker. This is a matter that honorable members ought to know, since it is a court order, which order restrains the clerk to Parliament as well from proceeding or dealing with a member in this matter, I find myself constrained.
And so that was Ebenezer Ahoma Jetro, who is a clerk to Parliament, and he has been speaking based on the Ablekuma North issue and then the Akwitian MP, stating he has been sworn in, but election of the speaker nidie. On to me and I mean, Afenyomakin also has said that they are going to look at what is going to happen and then make sure that the man is ready for the consequences. Afenyomakin so akasa or a minority leader at the Parliament. But let's go to the screen and then watch the man himself. NSCL. Kumino, he was in Parliament yesterday briefly before bench warranted by Ntienko and baby and now.
As well as the effort of my colleague from Southdown, Honorable Roxanne Nelson Dakameko, who shares a passion for restoring the federal treatment plant following its expansion. Nevertheless, it is not forgotten the struggles faced by our constituents in accessing clean water are mirrored nationwide. As such,
Mr. Chairman,
as well as the effort of my colleague from Southdown, Honorable Roxanne Nelson Dakameko, who shares a passion for restoring.
Akwitia MP no NSCL kumi ono ena oba Parliament oba chamber ni mu no befa ni niama ni tablet and ni person ne keka ho owie na opie nti yesterday he was in Parliament briefly, but he go back to 7th of January. Clerk of Parliament Kasawe and Ebenezer Ahoma Okasawe no Afenyomakin so emma ehu response nti yenko engoti ni minority leader ekai.
Mr. Chairman, colleagues, please, let's make a headway. Mr. Chairman, we have heard you. This is a house of rules and procedure that is not in doubt. This is a house that relies on precedence. I just have a simple answer to the point you made, and I have the instructions of my respected colleague-elect, Honorable Ernest Kumi, and fortified by the precedents of this House, which precedent is dated 7th of January 2021. I simply, Mr. Chairman, the member so desires to proceed to be sworn in and to also participate in the election of the speaker and bear the consequences himself.
Oh, that was the minority leader on the January 7th. But after court's ruling, no, Afenyomakin akoso as akasabim afa ruling fa NSCL kumi awoye MP for Akwitia nti no so yen go back na ngoti ni Afenyomakin ekai.
So we become aware of the Koforidua High Court's decision. We are yet to procure the court ruling and the orders of the court. The lawyers are going to brief the caucus and we will come out with our position on the matter. Meanwhile, I'm sure all necessary steps will be taken to ensure that our colleague is law-abiding and ensure that the right thing is done. But we have to say that we are dissatisfied with the approach and we think that he has been treated unfairly. We would come out fully with our position.
Well, Alexander Fenyomarkin thinks that they have been treated unfairly and they have registered their displeasure. That is the minority caucus in Parliament.
Well, we say, no. Yes, na no de ni see. In the walk can asem no de ko see owura jachi question. So the see 2001. Na ode achire mu se sa abre no kra no. Ono an ye na court wa hyese mo onye no ye ma odi ni nsasi se de bisi no. Ono a obesoa ho asodi. Enti de ye wom ne se omaka to dwa se omo behwe se emra no ada ho no omo beko na omo ayede ye esan se wo mu se omo akire se onwani nye de court na ka de na enso sa na court na ka nti omo behwe nkrata ni mu no omo hwe nkrata ni mu a na omo nsoso anamu omo se omo tu no omo tu ye de besre court no na omo beye ama kwatiafo ho adwo won ni se asem no won bedi ni ntem. Okay. Na de ewo mu bia no ya ma ye hunu se ono no wadi bem wadi nkonim ana se ne opponent no na adi nkonim a na ye hu na akwatiafo anya MP a obetumi agina mu aka wo asem de ama won na se ye twe no abasa ne asre twe no na for months ebe a e fane e kwa afe na se asemi da so e konkon ho na ye hu nipa okogina akwatiafo na mu na tere se ye ha akwatiafo nti wo mu se ye twe mmra but ye nwina akwatiafo no nso ho emfa nka ho na ye mfa nka mmra no ho na
also ye kasa ni na ye nkasa ye nka ni a esesa nka electoral commission eye as I say, I don't think this man would step in Parliament if there was no statement I trust or no and no all leady. And I say,
American media can say, the man we nya be a kukudru call ye no
Parliament no.
The na electoral commission no can that day no electoral commission no a year declaration.
Sure.
Near one tene who was in embrace one fan court. And one no de asam no call na or say. Papa nye ne ho se oye MP kusi se ebi asem ne yebehunu no kura ye den ewom enti electoral commission de o asem bi a ye koduru court ho a ene ono bekwa akokire na asemu ho na ya adansidie na afi court na gina so e de abua de ombebua enti ye nhwe na mo media ma desre ya ne se omo court no kan ntem obatamaklu judge na yasem no wona nim no onhwe na onye ne ntentem so se de be ya akwatiafo obenya na musini.
Well, interesting. Koforidua High Court, this is a statement Emeki Waha say munye ne ntem se ne be ya the constituents or more akwatiano so be to me nya representative na development so to me edru hono. Papa yento so viewers emrepemo no e be phone lines na so to me the madwintwe abeka yenko northern regions, the northeast region to be precise.
Yeah.
Conflict I cause war. It doesn't seem to be ending, but in the last few days, no. Almost nasi akasaka crying. I had to say there is some form of kaumbi aba in the northeast region. Bank nimpe wale kwano so it be bank nimpe ena intokani baku isi wo. Yeka say one of the chiefs of more hono. Neba 34-year-old or so yekuno or say military foreign stabbing allegedly muno stabbing inti ono so ni smaller gods e kronimu akasase kebeya I mean the military should come in and then have a dialogue sene beya ombehu baby asem no na fe so government so enhwehwem baby asem ne dana na aban mfa asem ne ntu Mamprosi asem na yeke.
Wale. Yo. Nka asem ye dia koja abosume wo krom se omo nka ma ye de se nka dia aka no. Ngeje chirika.
But is he imposing a curfew on a town? School children will be affected, hospitals will be affected.
Hona asem no ankasa wo se dwumadi esese nipa di ma won ho ebai won no ni nyina no ehunu amane. And school for nkwala nso so kra ntumi nko school and jumedie businesses ne niyama nyina ye basa
imagine so comparable items
ama nipa etinumu no ho kyere wo ntina wo sere se yenyi curfew no emfiri ho na se be yi curfew no wo se ye de curfew no koto a se nipa na ebre bi no nsori bre bi a wona ya ama bambofo no waso da fam se ahoto aba ena obi a mentime ho ase no aba fam a na wo yi curfew na wo yi se nie opesa obo ho ban no ebi nsan koba bi ye ka sei bolgatanga ho ena wokọ savannah nso so a oti so a nyina curfew yi eda alaba ni tese curfew no ba na eba mentime ho ase we sori no wafa no we eya doso asem kakra na abufuo na obi afa sekan na obi afa tuo na obi afa sei a ye de ku ye ho sei ade no mfa so ben ni yenya wom ebe wie no na oman sika kakra no ayesi ye nibie no aye ho kire ye no ni asan ade afa a policefo a sojafo ne yesi ye de boban mi wa so be kosa abro no kro no aso no na school dan kra no na ho odin na baabi ankoda akonyo betena so kra na ho odin nanso ne ye de sika na ye den boban
anje sika we na betumi akosa
enka betumi akompuntuo mu ensuo asem odin wo ho eniema pii a ede ahokire ba ho odin enti ye besre said na no ka no say won yi curfew no won so ne
after 5 days into regional minister is what I can say omutumi ehwe na calmness eba in the next 5 days na mutumi ato mo in 5 days but I'm also asking 5 days is it enough
regional minister na ankasa ko especially ni nua ene ye kunu yi ya say o man nipa kakra bi na yetwa ye ho keka ye ho etitin ye ho eye niema enka ensase ye didi ye ho enti ye besre nananom ho de ho ye nim se omo manfo no etie won enti abusua Quarcoo mu mpanimfo ne ho ye ne ye nkrofo nkasa na yenyae atutrasam no a ye de yetia ye ho no na asomdwie na oman no sika no a ye de be yesa anwuma ne nyina no yemfa nkɔhye empuntu dwuma mu na emwa ye
okay ya to aba na wie Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia conceded defeat earlier and o can say Ninua President Mahama on we who say baby a ogina strong room or calculate why any calculations we who say maybe edru ni de enya de ono betumi abe president as and say Mahama was leading or say he wanted Mahama to settle ansa ono obi bi ka waka fa ho na ohwese ne a ne amekọ a ontumi international man am anko science Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia akasa o say anke be ya president Mahama state so he be a president for all and the issue going by our chief of staff I can say all appointments made before 7 December and after 7 December ni na no you revoke all those appointments no anke be ya on train science and be ya being the father and then the president of all no a bit to me at the pa
well otie e fa ba kono nkomo no ma me nhyase mfiri ho na me mfa me wie de
ultra Zebra okay
say akoye NDC MPP nkomo badenka ye yifiri ho se eye NDC MPP nkomo na ye no oman ne nkomo
okay
yebeko yenim
okay
wahu se nkomo a ye di NDC gina bra wo mu esi ni se won wa ye fa won wadwuma no transitional period no ho nkomo no amayi ne etoso mienu no wo mu susu se ye fa won bra wo anya clearance financial clearance
transitional period no say both parties set up members from this side and members from that side and omunyina
tenase
and how come it didn't come
say
out
sa nkomo no amba mu yi
omuno mwembisa and say the other side na anka
wa ne so wo na emisa odi omo asem omo kan say nkomo se nipa dodo a yafa won within the period no and a clearance a say financial clearance a na ewo ho say ye wo sika ye betumi de atua won ka no enti momfa nipa dodo se mfa nhye mu no saa niema no anhye da nsisi enti omo susu se omo egya ne se enkwa oman ni sika sem no aho kire beba
okay
womo asem omo ka no ena we no mo nso de omo ka ne se womo ye Ghana fo ya fo won adwuma wo ba no wo se wo be pa adwuma mani pa nyina Ghana ni bia ho behia wo enti se nipa no ya fa na adwuma ni ya fa na adwuma dada awia enka yenya ne saa na yentoa so se de be ya enipa ni bi wo ho a adwuma no kwa wa sha ase aye bosome miensa ne bosome nan kura dada nti yejai won no omo aye adwuma no anka beboa ma asomdua ye den aba ho na nkomo na kogina wo na nkomo no akogina ho na me se senka ye afri NDC fo na aba ena ompese nkrofo a yen yafa won adwuma no yenyi won frim yeyi nkomo no afri ho na akoye se aso wo man no wo ahoden ebetumi de atua won kasa de ye ka no isan se de o ye adwuma de ono won ko bi sa aban wo sika na oni sika o de betua ne ka de onim ni se wa ye adwuma de ebre bi so a aban de ni sika be den ebema no ena de ote foto no ho no nso kire na dwen se sika ni ho enti de he ne ye kogye adi ba me de ma asem a me sere nyina ene se de utie Ghana Health Service won de yate won ne se onwa kire won adwen se enipa no a efiri adwuma no mu koye no ema de ohaw ebeto nipa so
okay entinia former Vice President Dr. 𝗟𝗡𝗡 posted on the Facebook page, or said the worrying development in our nation and appeal to His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. And this has to do with the revoking of employment of persons that were employed before 7 December, and then after the elections in December. Into Dr. 𝗟𝗡𝗡 akasa afaho.
Oh. Die hukura wo ne the security personnel obi a wakotete no no wahunu niema bi ye wa ama na adwuma yese bonsam pa adwuma ma de ensa eda ho a eni adwuma ye nti adwobre ne wom won nyina ye Ghana fo mo ye abusuafo won wa ye fa wa adwuma no ye ntwere mo obi amoma so se we ye NDC ni ana we ye MPP ni ana we ye CPP ni won nyina ye Ghana fo na de won so ka no so no esese ye bisa se MPP fo ka kire ye no won so tumi kire ye mu se financial clearance bi a na ye hia no ye nsa kan inti financial clearance document ni nie eno ne ye gina so a ye de fa won adwuma no a na nka nkomo no to atwa kan komo a ye de nketo atwa sanse ye nyina nimu nhihye a ye gina so de fa nkrofo adwuma wo hwe usika wo na wahwe expenses ansa na abefa bi aka ho a wafa bi aka ho na wahwe won a retirement saa ne emani nyina wo keka ni nyina bom ansa na wahu se mehia nipa se di aka ho na wahwe the population growth say okro no a enyini schools dodo a ye bie hospitals dodo a ye bie nipa the workload a egu nipa so aso nipa no tumi gina no ni nyina mu no saa nyuma no a ye di nipa no kɔ ho no anyambia na hia se nipa kɔ hɔ ye adwuma se hia se nipa kɔ hɔ ye adwuma dia na ne ye nyina besre omampani Mahama se etoda ye de akonwa gyawa bi wo ho a ye de agyapade ebi so wo ho a ye gyaoka igyaoka no wa mene sanse adokodoko de ye wa akonwa no ho no se wutumi gi ye no tum dia woji eka nso ye den etum na wakorakora na waye ne yie nemo aman no mmra no a edibu oman no e na yenye ne yie se ye constitutional review yemfa nhyemu bi se ebi ase amamuo bi kɔ na wie ya anase de yie a ye de to aba no bia 3 months free sabra se ye de be kɔ December January mu a ye be soe omampani bi in no ma yemfa obi adwuma enye mmra na ho na nkoba se obi ba mayi obi ba meto aso ene saa ne yema ni nyina se to obi twa amaye no enye mmra na yenim sa asem kro ya ye kan so em se na nabi e de court enti ye hwe de court no
minority leader so akasa
enti ye hwe de court no beka ba ni nyina no omo ye nyina no NDC NPP ye nwene ye mabunu no a enenam ekoba omunni adwuma eye no na adwobremrem se sika no kwan bi e befa so a yatete minister Sweden yemfa kakra nso cheko ne yemfa wo adwuma na ye nyina yemmoa.
Well, let me share a final story. Felix Quarcoo, spokesperson for the president, and I've been Minister for Government Communications, Wakasa say, and yet President John Dramani Mahama say what dismissing claims of governments being irresponsible for recent assaults with journalists. So, I say President Mahama about 7 journalists have been attacked. Where NRGJ president can say, it looks like number no sure echo be 2 months into the swearing in about 7. Not just say by the end of the year to mean kind the number of assaults are ebenya ewo journalists so ya nhwe ne year enti we na Rajum Fonso aka and afin so Felix Quarcoo so aka say yes say a president yi na adwen free so na adwen was so pa he won't sit down and then watch the attacks on journalists.
What? He won't sit down there wed. Yemfanye oye na niesi no yenye ho adwuma. Isan said the omo kan nyina ne se uti omo o se expressing deep concern over lack of accountability for perpetrators. And this will be akoburu obi police fo gina ho ana soja fo ho ye ni tua se ni pesimesi na wo buru nipa no na se besi na ye ntumi nka ahwe a sabio toda na ye ba ye bo se opani tnafi na emofra wi nanka na wanka ho asem a ye bu nanka wefo a ye kan no ka ho isan se na se ompe nanka no a ye awie no a nko kan ho asem nti omampani akufu adote so no na niema bi wo ho a nkrofo ye enso ye sekire ni nyina de so a no se esan se esi wo na mamuo mu nti no wo hwe ayawa so de ne yenkan nkrofo yawo techiman ho ne nkrofo a omu ehwere won kwa enam abato ne ho ahwan nyina no se aban no aka asisu dua se oba obesa ahwehwem na won wedi nyambransam ne nsemone no yache won aye won de ebeye won dia nan ono ankasa na mamuo mu nsusu se nipa bi ahyase edi nipa bi ani na enye nipa huna kwase ensentwerefo na wodi wani a na de ebetumi aka afa ho bia no migiri se ni manimu ya no wo maka yi de owura Felix 𝗏𝗏 se ombekọ na omuni GGFo no akọ akotenase nya atenase ye no keke ni ehia ye pese ehu se na awotwe ne bosumi edi anim no ya chi nipa bi a ye de won gina asemni bia ma ye hunu se ne omudi di nsentwerefo no sanse wodi nsemu di nsentwerefo ade opese o ya ne se nipa nka wano ntum sanse wo na be ka ne asi ama nipa ehunu ndi se ye ka won kasabo ahye won menem na ye tata won wa na kire se oman no fa hodie no an ye den ye tietia so.
Well, for latter part of last year, no, there were a number of attacks on journalists, and omutu wanamo you interview nipa no, you blacklist the person near kika grant nipa no interview near kika. We'll come back to you now. Yeah, she say was it did it even serve as a deterrent to others attacks we echo so back because as we are making I'm not sure say 6 months lift a ban on those particular individuals. They say I can say 7 are back in less than 3 months into the year. But actually for a phone line so 0256253461 0538350625. We've been speaking on a number of issues. But the factor clocks are and I can say the omo eco strike this is over the acting birth and death registrar in office. You can say mukasabi no mukase ebi aban sanipa no one is nipa na kotina budget presentation so afi we who say nipa no wa share ni juma se na chese waba office we enunti na omo eco strike and Thursday the 20th day of February 2025. Afi government has defended the appointment of 𝗟𝗏𝗍𝗏 as a registrar of the births and deaths registry. Minority has also expressed displeasure of the contempt conviction slapped on the Akwitia MP. Inti earlier in the video a choice of Oba Parliament one chibia na osisani nyama ena afe okoye. Inti these are some of the issues we've been discussing right here. Yenko Tabora. Matthew, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Bajo crashing to you.
Yeah, this show.
Bajo another program na the so penny can make a kakrafa.
Okay.
At my phone I see you on my dingo.
Okay.
Opening Bajo say Jumana say some people ba bema na this ba bema just a constitution assessor. Yet to Obama MPP 2017. Oma na mama boya mo krela so mo nkonko yadwuma. 2017 you nyina di. Almost by 9,000 plus, you mean you could do a equatorial fee. Now, we are to a baby, we're more yet, she almost started some more fun. Abanika said, yeah, to a banner, to one guy recruitment down where. We do a Nema Messica at Daho, we do a gin 150 million, 300 million. Now, my gin, not because of more push on you, scan pushing for Fonago. This is all my scan. And this is for now, I buy some of them. Obi omujini sikabia pushing the question for them. Yankees have a phone and now Emma because Obi Sika or there what to appear to when you're there to also find a bedroom. What's a gene bribe? Eddie, this year, I cried as about Nephi. It's a film I mean, now for a sarcophagus, I could face cow for the other time, a banner and answer. I order me so, Miss, I order me here.
Okay, me patch you. Matthew, and if you good morning. Hello, Auntie Vilo, good morning.
Bacha na moye.
Nyamia do mama, oswe. Da nyamia se.
Kasa kutende meke. Moya stand up.
Edas.
Na. Na ko bisan ko po mo ko mani to no. Na muyi dende ba bi je nebi. Na san ka mo bi ta tare na shan ya tebo te. Na so of state. Enya se ye ni wo ma na se ye ni wo. Nay, tanto te o maka na o maka. Ba so de man.
Ntia umka.
Dia peido.
Na o maka. Mo pa be ja fo ni pa be bewe. Ebe chia o maka. Na maka se ne se kwa na te tia tia we. Tu ne se kan sen tia nka. Aga na na ta 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 ni du o utulu fo we ti. Dan to pen point no bi anu o tinu for with me. Obi ado no sense me boya di oke. Onse men ko asa kan state kona ya pa o beblebe mi. Ya saka wo mu nyina ni afa sa etika no. Enchia o ma mo se ya pa wo ma duma na mu nye tika fense o mo kan. O fenchia wo mo kan. Se fi o mu yi o pa ka se ye nti na pa wo mo. O mo se tikani ho. Se tikani ho dia. Wanted to and for you must do and I'm a pentia my phone can never I'm all mine up to them.
Okay.
I'm not the
you want if you look at us 0256253461 Offer normal TV volume no aqua form Eddie am I Janet, good morning. No for free Kumasi. What's up, Janet? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mama.
Nah.
Yes, ma.
Onyame onhyira mo pa. Onhyira osofo pani maswe. Me classmate no Trinity. Onyame onhyira mo. Na de ba ko a sesia no ha me ni se. Sese no yenya fa nipa na wie. Enti NDC ba nipa 9,000 ene yi wo mu we ba ye ba ko. Yenya fa wo ma ne afa wo mu. Abusuafo no a wo mu ma ye yi wo mu adenu ebi to aba ebi anto aba. Yes rese. Yemfa wo mu ntremu na ne wo akatua mpo ne betete so ayate so. Wo mu samba emetena fie die ha dwene pa. Enti yenwe ho kakra. Emaye.
You mama that's it. 0256253461 Ufrana Mau TV volume no akofom. So na me bisa say the blacklisting of some of the persons who caused who initiated some violence on journalists no. It was to serve as a deterrent to others and be a sobete. Ya kan ye lifted banny and che nya 1 year. You're saying you're 7 in the course of 2025. Because 2025 is just less than 2 months into the year. What do we do about this? Yanko Mutala. Mutala, good morning.
Morning.
Morning. What's your you?
Ayo, namuswe.
Yami Adom.
Me problem say of kasa say na ya payfona jiji amon fosika ena omode nkwara na bagu a dia ba to aduma no they say uyi nkwara na fimu na saa kano a wo kano enti awofo no ombaka hunu ultimate uchi udi nkwara wa aduma mu na sa wo fi say ya ji nkwara ni skadi ya nkwara na so awofo no awo de bakwa na wajika na so le no court na nkwara no on de so paduma ipe paduma na se wanya adwuma se fa 1 million bra na 2 million na 10 million na opia na okwa na se enye kwan papa so dia enye onu mom na wo fa se bi wo no de adwuma na opent wanya adwuma wi a na awon de enti ne wo Jesus kan na so wo ne de na ja kwa na wanya adwuma san ko bebe a wo yi o nyina no wo yi o nyina betena fie adwuma be na o kyan mo san ko ye bi adwuma bi se wo o kyan ba mo de adwuma mo na Mom ba sen ko na life am me da me to me de o life na mo say o nti esrem o mo nja nkwa no yo mo adwuma se akonya bi fo bi se o wa o mo nja we no
okay
mo mo yi pa 1000 en fa 1000 gu o mo pa 2000 en fa 2000 gu en fa so bi ani so enya ga na enya ya dia da ma se mo no nyame ye
yo mutala ya da se pa akwesi good morning no for free crowd oduma se akwesi good morning.
Yeah. Hello.
I was in Pacho Mau TV volume no
yeah, morning.
Mau TV volume no conform.
Me say me cha sambi na ya mi apa. Okay. Yo. Me cha sambi na ya mi apa. Okay. Yo. Me cha sambi na ya mi. Me say. Hello?
Me patrol you.
Hello?
You.
Yeah, me say. Me tell something pa na ya me ya. Say nipa ya fa nipa no ama adwuma no. Ya sa se nipa ni na mu nkopi. Na mama also say no ba nipa no. Ya ba ba ye na e be ya adwuma fine. Ito oyamba na nipa no wa adwuma ma. Mama onye na mfa nipa no. Mfa nipa no. Oma obi ankofie. Eyo,
that's it. So Edu Jemfi, good morning.
Miss Na.
Good morning, Papa.
Good morning, I come to say.
Pachonya miado.
That's it. Quarcoo for one demonstration na. Esro, adia no ankasa na adwuma no ankasa na mo ayedin. Ene men koyi. Nti esro mo call of strike no. Na the minister aban ne say. Me adwuma water company for many years. Sa brand no na water ni pano ready from the office no na okoye managing director no na adwuma no koso pa mbra aban ba mu omodi politicians ne be heads of the departments and you know and adwuma start egu ya na water aseye coordinate bra na senate for omo adwuma for no na head senate no na senate koso bra ban di nipa bese chief executive ni ade ne nyina no amana state ye japade nyina ya ton enye we nku enye aban we nku na make aban atwa mu nyina o ye sa aban ne bayi ni nsa afri se adwuma ekuo no wo mu nipa wo mu no baba ba ye pani wo mu a onim adwuma ni problems enti eba ebetimi aboa ma no politicians ne ba on be se adwuma no kura na aban de se wuro no yi sika ne bi ade ye the party sa ne ma no ena ma ne Ghana adwuma nyina se nso be jaya ebeboa ma adwuma nyina akoso ena wo mu nso a ye yi wo minister aban se oyi wo mo be sa fa nipa biu enti wo manage we no na wo mo se ebiruduru ana ji se wo piska ro de trom kana so oyi wo mi abetena fi a e side wo how ebeba me da se
yo yen so ye da se Adai, good morning. Ufrefri Kumasi, you'll be a final caller. Patrol to you. Adai, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. Good
morning. I'm what to say.
Nyami Adom, also.
Good morning. I'm what to say.
Nyami Adom o Adai. Patrol TV volume nimbra form.
Hello.
Adai, Patrol TV volume ninko form kakra.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. Good morning. Patrol to you.
Good morning. I'm Ufrefri Kumasi.
Okay.
Professor, assassin, civil servants, you Medino. The BC 1970, Abushia Presso, Fala case. Emma Bushia, for Supreme Court. Papa Mahama, one year, and no grand Bushia would lose popularity. And yes, no, when you're meaning I Ghana for. Just for being a day.
Okay, you. That's a pa. Into your final caller, and I ent me for a call. Be a view. Also,
yeah, papa, the Manyansa chassis. Sunday school.
Oh, okay.
Okay, enti obi bisa say Council of States for you to your kama enti Article 71 no. Echirimo say the allowances and privileges of chairman and other members of the Council of State shall be charged on the consolidated fund and shall not be varied to their disadvantage while they hold office until they are entitled to allowances and privileges including ex gratia. Baby Togwe afede eja ne die mu no. Na said ye wo ka se Ghana no ayetimu no. Ye besre. Abufu ehye nkrofo mu do so dodo. Enti bibi kakra bi a na obi ni nua na omo kontokwa. Abufu nzo emfa hwe ma o esayade. Ebe wie na ugina court, ebe wie na ugina police station, ebe wie no akom nipa, ebe wie na wade pa bi no wasɛ no. Ti ye de nsa da ye nsa yem se yensusuma ne man hye yeso. Na afei won wa ye journalist ni yi ye betena kasa toda ya dwene ne ye de ka ne yesusu senke sese eye. Enkyere se obi ene wa anya adwen o party bi asem bi nti na wanka bi amount o ye tamfo nti wuhia na akwaade ekɔbɔ no nakuno esese ye ma ye ho kwane ye ti asese we must have divergent view, dissenting view say nipa no betumi a kyerɛ na dwen wo bibi ho na wo nkohia no nkɔtaata ne say na waka we na wanka bi amayen ene de se de okasa ye de o ye MPP ni ɔkyena okasa ma ayi so a ene o ye NDC ni emfa so bi ama yenye wo man yenye Ghana for first ni empire wo man yi die ni ensusu ma ye nsan ha yen na ye mo nipa ho ban eda wase
enti yeda sese also ojemre ehwe ewo de so ye papa ene me kasa yen no the Reverend Maxwell Quarcoo Obeng or Methodist minister or sign lecturer it will shine baby now friend so for Maxwell Obejo so pepepe yeda sese ojemre ehwe de was brought to you by the Freeman Methodist Guest House e dani ho ba ye de agro ebeto aso.
This
is the Freeman Methodist Guest House Limited. It is a luxurious and comfortable guest house in the heart of Kumasi. Our guest house features a range of modern and spacious rooms, each with its private bathroom and amenities. Our guests can enjoy various on-site facilities, including a restaurant, conference halls, event center, spacious car park, CCTV cameras, lifts, generator, and many more. We are conveniently located opposite the 𝗟𝗏𝗡 College of Education near the Swami Roundabout in Kumasi and are easily accessible by public transportation. We look forward to welcoming you to the Freeman Methodist Guest House Limited. Contact us by telephone 050-650-8591 or 050-650-8592, or you can email us at fmghlghana@gmail.com or use our website www.fmghotelghana.com. Freeman Methodist Guest House, where serving you is our delight.